right? At what age was your son when you were denied access?
He was about 2 years, and the last day I saw him would have been 2018. The closest I've been the previous year was seeing him through an open door where he would not even have a eyesight communication with me. He sneaked out and then in sign spoke in sign language, and I was happy and sad and sad at the same time because I recognize that he understands that once he utters his voice, they would know he's outside. And he's trying, though, to communicate to me. He's speaking in sign language, and I respond in words and I ask questions. And he says that gate is locked, I can't come out. And then they notice he's outside when I'm declaring love to him, and he goes back inside. If anything happens to me before we reunite, I want you to know this, that I never wanted to leave. I always wanted to be there each and every day of your life, and I have fought until my last day. But I believe we will reunite, and I would be able to tell you these words one day. I love you so much.
Sanbonan lapha emakhaya, and welcome to our first episode of the Hope Revolution podcast. I'm your host, Unomcebo Wagayaga, and thank you so much for joining us. We welcome you. The purpose of this podcast is to provide a platform for open discussions on various challenges and experiences unique to both women and men. In studio today, I have a gentleman by the name of Uscelo Mbonani. Remember, in this podcast, we provide a platform for open discussions. So I'm be joined by Uscelo, who will be sharing his story with us. How are you, Uscelo?
I'm very good, and thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Okay, Stelo, can you just tell us about yourself? Tell us more about yourself. Who is Stelo? Where does Stelo come from?
So I come from Tsakane. I've lived my life, all of it really up to date in Tsakane. Had a few opportunities to live, but I prefer townships. So I am a township boy. I am a father. I am a financial advisor by profession. I am a philanthropist to help orphans be or have a normal life. And I have Park Project where I used to assist entrepreneurs. So generally, I am a community member. I'm a community developer. I exist within the community of Tsakane.
So, Stelo, since you are here, um, we're providing a platform for you to come here and express yourself and definitely tell us your story. So, before we go any further, I reached out to you because I saw your clip online um, as you're denied access to your child. So, let's go way back. The first time you had a relationship with the mother of your child. How were things before?
So really, we started dating a long time ago, and things were pretty much well. I can attest to you that in many relationships I've had, we were not having disputes. It was cordial. It was very good. We had no problem. Honestly, no problem until at a time where we had a child. Then when I met somebody else. We then dated for a couple of years, and then we got pregnant around 2015, and then that's when the start of our problems began in terms of we were together because we saw the world the same. It's important for me to say that. We both had the same beliefs. We both see how marriage should be, how one enters into marriage, our views about lobola and tlaulo were aligned. So it was really, really a very aligned relationship where we had the same views on everything. Hence, it lasted really long until the birth of our child, where the interference of her family then caused her to change her views about lobola and intlaulo at that time, and all of that. But then we were able to conquer that. She sat her family down and told her view, and they respected it, obviously without just cause, but they still respected it. And we had our baby. She asked for a break, and then we took that break. But we co-parented very well, honestly. For the better part of 2.5 years, it was a beautiful co-parenting. I can recall my friends saying, "Your baby mama has no problem," and I would tell them, "She's not a baby mama. She's the mother of my child because we co-created a human being with her. And I will tell her, no, it's all well. We would do everything that needs our child together. We're involved. There's moments that I missed of my child that I knew because we're always in contact, and we're always be able to cooperate very well, until the event that really led to us not having access really. That was around 2018. 2018, it was after 2 years of our separation, and I met somebody else. And then she got to know that I've met somebody else. Then she disclosed to me that she had still hopes and wishes about us, and this shouldn't be the case. And I told her, unfortunately, now I've met somebody else, and I love that person. I cannot, just because you're saying that, I have tried during our break to try and fix things, it never worked. So I cannot. And then she gave me an alternate time that it's either I come back to her or I will literally draw my child in order to see him.
So, looking back, how was fatherhood around that time? What did you learn in your fatherhood journey?
Wow, I do fatherhood with great responsibility and very much passion. Ideally, in my perfect world, I wouldn't have been a father because I understand the level of commitment, responsibility that comes with it. And I used to say before I had a child that, why I'm scared of being a father is that when my child is 22 years old and is either standing in front of a judge or a podium of graduation, I should be able to take both account in both instances. And unfortunately, the one standing in front of a judge for a sentence was the most scariest idea for me, and fear that made me not to want to have kids one day, because I knew that I would have to take full accountability, as I would take full accountability when he stands there and being celebrated as an admitted attorney or whatever the case may be. So that level of responsibility to me made me scared. But when he was born, I learned unconditional love. I remember that was the first lesson. I would see him every day. And when I hugged this person who couldn't talk, who couldn't communicate, couldn't utter anything, but I could get affirmation that he loves me back. I can get a sort of response and so much passion from him. I knew love existed, and that was my first lesson. And I learned how to be patient. I say patience is the most needed requirement or trait from parents, because the kids are generally going to do more things you don't like than the ones that you like. And leading with love, in patience all the time, to be able to say, even today, even today, I'll still love you, because I grew up with parents who've never laid a hand on me. And I wanted to do the same to my kids, to make sure that I lead them with love. We engage, we negotiate. I win, they win. Sometimes I lose, because that's what parenthood is about, really. It's not about being the only person who has a voice in the story or in his upbringing. It's about, in fact, learning your child, supporting their ideas and dreams, allowing them to fail, allowing them to grow and be responsible. But it's all done in love and in very great level of patience, because kids are kids, man. They break your glass and all of that. I had a time earlier last year to speak at church, and I made this example, and it will exactly tell you the greatest lessons I've learned when I became a father. I told people at church that being a parent means that you would have a child would open your cupboard, take out your lovely glass, and throw them in the floor and laugh. And what that means, if you want to be a great parent, it is an opportunity to really teach or whatever that lesson is, love them and be able to be kind and patient, even if they do it again 100 times. Because, just like in grade one, you know, that first year book never gets ticked correct or incorrect. You just have a teacher writing your name and surname on top of the page, and you have to write it until you know how to write your name. And there's never a wrong right answer, whether you go offline or otherwise. They do it with patience each and every time until such a time you are able to write your name in full. Then you move to another thing. And that's the type of parent I am. I lead with that. I make sure that I teach until he grasps the lessons. And I can tell you now, even after being denied such long time, I can see the traits of those lessons we did when he
Yes.
was before 3, and it is always fulfilling me to see that even now he wants to reach out to me, but he still respects his mother. You know, I mean, you want him now to say, hey, mommy, I'm gonna go out, but I still appreciate the level of respect because that's the trait, that's the lesson, that's the training I gave to him to always respect his elders, to always respect everybody else. I cannot, because now it might be convenient for me to stand up for his mother in an unruly way, that I should appreciate that. I appreciate the fact that he's still holding on to the principle, to the lessons I gave him when he was just before 3.
Wow. So I can say that your journey of fatherhood has been great, even though it was stopped at a certain place, but you were keen to make fatherhood such a beautiful journey. So I want to get into this. So you were denied access, right? At what age was your son when you were denied access?
He was about 2 years and almost 8 months. It would have been in the last day I saw him, would have been 2018, uh, 30th of June.
So in that relationship that you had with your mother of your child, I believe, as you said, that everything was going well around that time. Wasn't there any signs of you seeing that maybe one day, or things that she might have said, that to say, oh, if one day things go wrong, this might happen?
There was no sign. There was absolutely no sign. There was a time where I wanted to separate. I wanted to undergo a spiritual journey of being alone. There was no reason to still separate with her. We discussed and both were celibate, and that happened really before the birth of our son. We were celibate before we became pregnant. We stayed together when we were celibate. And I think that was a test that there was nothing wrong. So there was absolutely nothing wrong, no indication whatsoever that would have been um, an indicator that things would otherwise turn out this way one day. I it was not there. I would have been blinded if it was there, but it didn't exist at that time. Now, on an analytical basis, on the back view, there might be maybe comments that I say maybe this was an indicator, but at that time, there was clearly no indicator.
Did the family ever, on the side of your of the mother of your child, did the family ever asked for intlawulo, to maybe, if you they say that if you pay intlawulo, then we're going to give you access to the child? Was there ever a conversation like that?
So the conversation of Intlaulo happened to us early during our pregnancy, and it was led by the mother of the child, because, like I said earlier on, we had an agreement and understanding of beliefs about Intlaulo and all of that. She set them down in my presence and told her views, our views, that we do not subscribe to Intlaulo. I would like Stella not to pay Intlaulo for me because I do not see justice or reason for that. And the mom expressed that I would have loved to have Intlaulo, this is not how they would have loved it to do, but nonetheless, they proceeded, they accepted their decision, at least I think, obviously without happiness, because that's not what they desired. But that didn't stop me. That was not even a condition to me seeing my child. Even after that conversation, I was able to go into that house all the time I wanted to see my child. I was able to bath my son in their house. And that should tell you that Ntlaulo was not a big deal for them. And I was able to be there for my child all the time. I would be there even when the mother of my child was not there. I could get in and get my child. And it was never a reason after I've been denied access. It still has not come up, during our family meeting, when my grandmother kept on asking what should be done in order for this to be resolved. Her great grandmother said, there's nothing. This child will only go see his father when he's old enough to walk to him and go to him without us.
Do you think that I believe a lot of fathers have a term to say ingane yami izoza kimi maseyindala. It's a term of saying you'll come to me when you are grown. But do you believe in that?
Absolutely not. I don't believe in that for a second. And I can tell you now for free, probably have 100 people, majority being women, who have said, let him be, he will come back to you. I know for a fact he would come back to me. That goes without saying because of those moments I was in his life, those unforgettable moments of the first 2.5 years of his life. That alone guarantees me that he will come back. But as what? You know, Parenting is not about seeding your kids into the world just to survive on their own. How does it come back? What would have the anger, my absence, and the void of where my father is made him turn out to be? I cannot wait because I don't, it's for me, parenting is not about the outcome of him being an adult only. It's about making sure that I create a responsible person that can exist in society, that would not be a distraction to other people, that will live out his dream. How do I do that in absentia? Because now you want me to look at him at the end and having not contributed even a bit to what he has become, whether good or bad, it will be more hectic when it's bad because I'll feel more bad because whether I like it or not, I have a responsibility to his becoming. So I don't believe in waiting, and that's why I can't stop fighting because I cannot wait for a certain age where he's an adult for us to engage.
Going back to the conversation of having a relationship with the mother of your child, that was perfectly fine and you understood each other. Let's dive in deeper.
Yes.
What really went wrong between you and the mother of your child?
Absolutely, between us, nothing went wrong. Her mother wanted us to get married when we became pregnant. She was concerned about the embarrassment this would cause to her church community and obviously to her family name. We were still young. I was pretty much broke at that time. I was starting out in business. The mother of my child at that time had left job to also pursue business. So we were not in a position to be married, and we told her we cannot get married, but that she insistently put that pressure on her, and she began being treated bad at home and also in that church community, to a point that she felt it was better to regain the family position or family's favor on her and the church community that she asked for us to separate. So we really separated because of her mother or her family treatment towards her during that process because of the decision of her not getting married or rather also not wanting in Tlaul.
I saw your clip online that really touched me. I'm a woman, I'm not a man, but I felt your pain. So it was your child's birthday and you were standing outside. I felt like you were not given access to even speak to your child. So, can you tell me more about that video? How
So,
did it affect you?
so it was a better year. The video started back in 2021. I told you offline, I don't have access. So what I do is I try to see him still. I would pass by his house almost every day, just to get to even see him playing outside. Just so that we have a contact, because he would be hidden immediately after they recognize my presence. So in one other day in 21, I saw him a day before his birthday, and we were able to have a little bit of chat. And he asked me to come to his birthday celebration. He said, "Daddy, come to my birthday celebration." And to me, that was a clarion call, really, to say, he still wants me there. And I committed to say, "My son, I'll be there." I knew very well I would not be allowed to be there, but he asked himself, and I made sure that every other birthday thereafter, I would come to his house. I would stand outside. I would have sent requests to see him, obviously,
Yes.
before then. Attempted to say, "Hey, if you're having a birthday lunch, I can have him for breakfast or dinner, just so that I see him and I celebrate him on his birthday." None of those were obviously accepted, and I've been in that street every day on his birthday, and I would stand there until evening, really, just as a sign to him that I was here. I would have celebrated with you. Whether or not I have anything, I would be here.
When you this is this is quite emotional. Um, when you are outside, because I saw in one of your videos you will come with like a birthday cake and stand outside. Does your son reach out to you when maybe you're outside and standing there and he can see you outside? Does he try to reach out to you? What does he do when he sees you?
So, in the previous years, he could not be even let outside at all. The closest I've been the previous year was seeing him through an open door, where he would not even have a eyesight communication with me. But I say this year was a better year, because for the first time, and it's growing, it shows. For the first time, he reached out twice. And now I saw him more than twice this time around, but he reached out twice. At first, his uncle was coming while the mother was going to open the gate from the uncle. He popped out of the door and blew me a kiss. And I blew off the kiss back, and then he disappeared again. And at that time I got excited, obviously bittersweet, moment, but I got excited that he's aware that he's been told not to come out, because he did
Yes.
that when her mother was going to the gate, and he went back in and would be in, maybe outside with the mother, but would hold a straight face and not communicate with me, and then after having a straight face, he then, and I believe at this time her mother was bathing, he had an opportunity, sneaked out. He sneaked out and then stayed off the door and off the window and spoke in sign language. He spoke in sign, he spoke in
I'm
sign
sorry.
language,
I'm sorry.
and I was happy and sad and sad at the same time, because I recognize that he understands that once he utters his voice, they would know he's outside. And he's trying, though, to communicate to me. He's speaking in sign language, and I respond in words, and I ask questions. And he says that the gate is locked, I can't come out. And then they notice he's outside when I'm declaring love to him, and he goes back inside. He runs into the house when the mother calls from a distance that I could tell, knowing the house, she was in the bathroom, you know. And he goes back into the house, and yes, he made those two attempts to reach out, you know. While it's so painful, I am glad he's seeing. I am glad that he knows. I am glad that he expects me to be there. You know, I was telling my other friend who came through to support me when I was standing outside that I cannot stop even if I'm not well, because I was in no condition this time
Yes.
around to be standing outside in a cold, rainy weather for the whole day. But I told them, even when I was knew very well that I have a surgery, I cannot be outside. I needed to be there because I know he expects me to be there. He must know that I will not give up on him.
I can I can tell this is it's an emotional journey.
It is.
It's a painful journey at the same time. What have which legal routes have you taken to try and win your child, to try and have access? Because I believe you don't want to be in a position like you want to take the child from the mother's hand, but you just want to get access to your child. So what are the legal routes have you taken?
You very correct. I had no interest really to have um only access or to even stay with my child. I didn't have a problem with him staying with his mother. You know, all I wanted was an equitable, good access like there was when I was still co-parenting with the mother well, because that would have been second nature for my child at the age of 2.5 years, you know. So uh, when all of this started, really, the first thing I did was to try and reason with the mother. And we tried that for almost 2 months, and it didn't yield results.
I want to, because you have been trying to get access for your child for a very long time now. It's been years, if I'm not mistaken. But I want to understand, what are the legal routes have you tried to get access?
So it's been a journey, you know. When all of it started, I really tried to reason with the mother first, and that didn't work out, began to be violent. Exactly the day before I went to the social worker, she had slapped me. And then I was like, if this happens one day, I will maybe be weak and respond. So let me stay away and go to the social worker. Wasted no time. Next day, I woke up to the children's court. They sent me to the social workers. I went to the social workers. We tried mediation. It didn't work out. She wanted to reduce time significantly and to what would have been abnormal to my child. Then it didn't work out, and then we then instructed the social worker to do what they call Form 2 to take the matter to children's court. And then that delayed. When it was delaying, I was checking up with the social workers. The mother had temporarily agreed for me to see the child, but still didn't allow me to do that to the last day of my attempt on the 30th, where I was assaulted in front of my child to when I took him away to see my family and brought him back under the temporary arrangement. And then that was the last day. I then had formal access, and then we proceeded with that. I tried to get the form to sign. It was not. The social worker was incompetent in a way, didn't submit the form until I laid a complaint. It was submitted. Our case went to court, to the children's court, and then at the children's court, we then at that time, behind the scene, the social worker I reported began to work with the mother of my child for the relocation to a pen without my knowledge. And then my child was then relocated to KZN. And at the time the court date was set, we had lost jurisdiction, So the court could not then decide on the matter because the child, according to the Children's Act, they cannot decide on a matter of a child who's not in the region that the child is in. And then I took the matter to the magistrate court uh, for appealing of the jurisdiction matter and to cause the case to be heard here. And then I didn't succeed. It was stuck off roll at that time because of the legal representatives that were assisting me. They didn't do. Uh, they missed one court date really, and then it was stuck off the roll, and I couldn't get it back on the roll. Since then, I then tried other alternatives from there. I spoke to the Regional Social Work Department of Social Development in Ekurhuleni. I couldn't resolve the matter. I went to the Provisional Department of social development. I couldn't have the matter resolved. I went to the Minister of Social Development office to resolve the matter. They tried to claim they are resolving the matter. When I was asking for answers, what is happening, they told me their resolve is that it's in the best interest of the child to be where he is. And I asked them, okay, that's fine. Can I have the report proving that you've done your due diligence to prove that that is what's best for my child? And I asked this because at that time, nobody had come to my home, in my house, to assess if my child will be best here, because it will be a comparative statement to say he's best there, not there. So nobody had done that. Nobody had approached my home to say, we want to see if a child were to come here, would this be a good enough environment for his livelihood? Nobody did that. So I knew that what they're saying is just reading what's in the act and not doing their work. And I said, please provide me with the report. To date, I have not received that report. I'm like, do you know where my child is? The lady I was sitting with in the meeting from the minister's office didn't know where my child is. He had no idea. Even to date, I don't have the address of where my child is. And that's why I'm unable to even go to a jurisdiction of where he is, because where do I begin? You know, where do I begin? It is part of plan this year to locate that address and apply a different strategy to me winning the case or winning this case. But yes, those are the routes I've gone through. I've utilized Men's Forum in Gauteng office, to try and intervene. I've gotten pastors involved, and none of the things have resolved. Really, I've tried legal and social and religious ways to try and engage this matter, and none of them have yielded results to date, really. And I'm left with going to the High Court, and obviously in the High Court, they don't deal with necessarily access in a way. They deal with custody matters. I would have to apply for full custody. I believe that what would be triggering in terms of a proper conversation, because then the court cannot make a decision without verifying and checking both homes, where would the child be best at.
Would you say the the social workers have failed you?
Without question. Without question, they failed me. When I followed up and I asked, we learned from her supervisor that she had missed the training of the new way of doing things. There had been an instruction from the Department of Social Development on how to apply for Form 2 and how to do that. And she didn't know how to do that, honestly. She lied more than anything. She lied to me for months that she had submitted the form, but the court is full. They can't issue a date. And in my mind, it couldn't make sense that just issue a date, even if it's 2 years from now, if you are full, but just issue a date, you know? And I went to the court. I spent a day in court. They opened up all the children court Form 2 cases that were there just to look inside, that maybe the paper, they were so patient. just maybe your form fell into another file. There was nothing. They showed me a register that the social workers fill every time they submitting a form. They say, you see, the social worker in question has not submitted anything since February, and we're now in October, and she has not submitted in. My case came to a in July. She had not submitted anything to that effect, and that's when I lay a complaint with the supervisor, and the form was essentially filed. But beyond that, she started to then collide with the mother. That was the greatest failure and not acting in good faith, because if a case is open and it's in place, right? Uh, the order of the day is that the child cannot be moved during that process,
Process, correct.
because how do you then move a child when there's an excess case? We would not be able to determine whether it was for the reason you would claim it is for, or was it for the excess case. But she told the mother of my child, who told me on a call in that year, that the social worker said, I must not tell you that I'm relocating because you would cause problem, as you have caused problem for her already.
I'm trying to maneuver around how was the social worker not doing the right thing. Would you maybe say there was bribery involved
I
in
would
your understanding?
I wouldn't say there was bribery involved. I think her incompetency, or me acting on her incompetency, was what agitated her to collide with the mother. I don't think there was money that exchanged hands, honestly. I think she was motivated by the fact that I reported her for not submitting the form too, which she should have done in the first week of the request coming in. I don't think there was money that was bribed. I don't think the family of my son's mother had any closeness or allegiance with the social workers. It was just a common enemy situation at the time of her colliding with the mother of my child.
So going back to the gender-based violence that was involved between you and the mother of your child. So going back, you said that she slapped you,
Yes.
right? Did that happen once?
So it happened once, really, and I started the case. The next incident was when I was bringing my child on the 30th. I had my child on my hand, and both her and her sister and her grandmother were pulling me and pulling the child away from me, while he was in my hands, and my son was crying. That was a very violent situation for me, and the minute they took over the child, I then left, and they stripped, they messed up my clothes on that day. And I remember a male neighbor came to my rescue and tried to separate this whole thing, and I left. I went to the police station that day.
Did, so there was a case that was opened.
Unfortunately, we didn't open a case. When we got there, we got mediated, and we set up a family meeting, and we didn't open a case. And I think that's the great injustice of our justice system, that when matters are brought in by male figures, necessarily they want to take you back home and negotiate with your girlfriend, with your abusive wife, do that, do that, do that, instead of opening a case. And at that time, really, my desire was not to get the mother of my child arrested or opening a case. I just wanted the matter resolved. I just wanted to look at my child. Looking back now, I should have had that case on the roll so that it is there as evidence, but we didn't open a case at that time.
I would like you to express yourself. I would like you to just look into that camera and give your son the best message that you want to give your son. Um, Express your love to your son, because I believe he's out there, and definitely he will be seeing you on TV soon. And just talk to your son.
Thank you for the opportunity to say something that could actually reach my child, to to anybody out there, to anybody in KZN viewing this video, to anybody who has close proximity to where my son is, if you ever bump into this video, please take just a few minutes just to give him this message, just to have him watch these few minutes of this interview so that he knows what I want to say to him. And this is what I want to say to him. Fanami, like I always said when you were young, Daddy loves you so much. Kangaka mtanami. I love you so much. I want to be in your life each and every day of your life. I want to be there involved and partaking and involved and guiding you into what you want to be, because I wish nothing of you but greatness. I wish you fulfill your dreams. I wish everything becomes of you. I wish you a happy childhood. I wish you a life full of love, patience, and everything that is for a child. I wish wealth to you. I wish you progress. I wish you enjoy your childhood. I wish you the presence of me in your life. And I love you so much. If anything happens to me before we reunite, I want you to know this, that I never wanted to leave. I always wanted to be there each and every day of your life. And I have fought until my last day. But I believe we will reunite, and I would be able to tell you these words one day. I love you. I love you so much.
I believe wherever he is, this will reach to him. It will never go on deaf ears, because I know somewhere, somehow, someone knows him out there, and he knows you. He won't even hesitate. He will say, Obabalo. And looking forward, my brother, I hope we get all the help you need. You get all the help you need. You get all the support you need. To anyone who feel that they can help Uscelo, please feel free to come up front. Each and every father needs a child in their lives, regardless of the situation, regardless of whether you're going into a new relationship, but ingane nengane yamdinga ubaba wayo. So it's just an emotional journey. It's draining. You feel like there's nothing to live for, but I'm glad ukuthi Stella still has that power to fight. So can you please give us maybe a clue and share more about how one can help you identify, like how one can identify the mother, the name of the mother, and maybe you might know that particular person at home, and we are easily able to track for more information. So can you just please share more information on how we can track the person, or how we can be able to help you in tracking your child?
So the my son's name is Ntsiga Hlelolenkosi Sicelo Qumba. He's currently age 9. He's a bit a taller boy, a really good taller, stronger, taller boy now. And his mother is Noctula Zamanyambose Qumba. They used to live where my son was born in Takane in 8914 Mujanchi Street. That's where they used to live. They
Relocated.
relocated to somewhere in KZN, and I do not have the details of their residence in KZN, but I know that it is where the family or the paternal family of Noctula Kumba used to live or lived or are living in, and it's around Richards Bay. At least I know that, and that's where my son might be. If you know his whereabouts or can reach him or know where I could really at least find the right jurisdiction to approach, please reach out to me, to the team. They'll get the information to me so that I can be able to do that. The mother is a bit taller like my son with a big body, and should be easy to really recognize. I know her to be Noctula Zamanyambose Kumba on social media, on Facebook, and yes, yeah, That's as much as information I currently have. I do not know the current residence, but it's somewhere around Richards Bay, rural areas in KZN.
Thank you, Stella, about that. If you also a legal expert and you would like to engage more and get more information on how also you can help Stella, please do not hesitate to contact us. And also, if there's anyone out there who wants to donate or provide any kind of support to Stella, please feel free to contact us and we'll provide Stella's details so that you can get in touch with him. Okay, Stella, so if there is someone who would like to help and give you support, or maybe someone who might identify your son or the mother of your child, where can they reach you?
Thank you very much for that. Uh, I haven't had access for more than 6 years now. I've been all and up in trying to fight that, and anyone, you would have heard already all the attempts I've made. Anyone who has new ideas, new ways, support, anything that could help advance the cause of me being reunited with my child, please reach out to me. I can be found as Celombo Nani across all social media: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And you can call me on 078 6014 and you can email me mbonanisikelo@gmail.com. In all of those ways or one of them, you'll be able to reach out with me and help me in fighting to get access to my son.
Thank you so much, Stella. And to all the legal experts, anyone who might have information that might help Stella, please feel free to give Stella a call or an email or reach out to him in his online platforms. Um, I would like to say thank you, my brother, for coming. It's an emotional journey, and but I believe that there's light. At the end of the tunnel, there's always light, and everything shall be well. You'll be reunited with your son. Remember, there's always a journey of dark before you can see the light that is coming towards you. So I believe things will be a little bit different. You might be spending some next birthday with your son right by your side and not outside of the gate or seeing him at the other side. And I would say thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much for an opportunity to share my story in a very open, non-judgmental way, in a way that allows me to be frank and open and as naked as I could be about the truth and the entirety of my story. It is important that even those who are seeking to know more, and you've given me that platform. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And please do not forget to subscribe and also hit that notification button so that every time we post something, you're the first person to know about it. Thank you so much for joining us. And before I forget, we were shooting at Mano Studios. So if you want to come and do your part and have your podcast there or want to take a photo shoot or whatever the case might be, please do not forget to contact them. Their contacts will be just right under the screen. And thank you so much for joining us. Same time, same place.